This video will provide a history of Zim Integrated Shipping. Zim was founded on June 7, 1945, as the Zim Palestine Navigation Company. The first ship was purchased in partnership with Harris and Dixon in 1947. This vessel was refurbished, renamed SS Kedma, and sailed to the future State of Israel in the summer of 1947. After the State of Israel was established in 1948, the company was renamed Zim Israel Navigation Company. During its first few years, its main task was transporting hundreds of thousands of immigrants to Israel. Some of the other ships that had been used for clandestine immigration before the establishment of Israel as a state were confiscated by the British Mandate authorities. The company continued to purchase more ships. Among them were SS Negba, SS Artza and SS Galila. From the years 1947 to 1949, during the Palestine War, the company was the sole maritime connection with the State of Israel, supplying food, freight, and military equipment. In 1953, some of the money from the reparations agreement between Israel and West Germany was allocated to the purchase and construction of new ships. The SS Bergensfjord, renamed Jerusalem, sailed the Israel-New York route. Another ship purchased with reparations money was the SS Theodor Herzl. The company took delivery of its first new vessels, the 9,800-ton passenger cargo liners SS Israel and SS Zion, later known as SS Dolphin IV. 1957 saw the delivery of two more new ocean liners, the 10,000-ton sister ships SS Jerusalem and SS Theodor Herzl, followed by the more modest 7,800-ton SS Palestine, which featured an all-tourist class layout targeted principally to American tourists looking for affordable transportation to the Holy Land. In the 1950s and 1960s, Zim concentrated on passenger ships, alongside a constant expansion of the cargo shipping business. Passenger liners were a common means of international transport before the emergence of cheap air transport, and pleasure cruises were also popular. Zim sailed the Mediterranean Sea, as well as having regular routes to the United States. Some of its ships cruised to the Caribbean during the winter. In 1964, it saw the completion of the 25,000-ton ocean liner SS Shalom, which turned out to be a failure, marking the end of the Zim passenger shipping era. Due to rising airline competition and the market failure of the expensive new Shalom, passenger services were gradually phased out between 1966 and 1969. As Zim refocused on cargo shipping, Jerusalem was chartered out to British-based P&O Cruises in 1966, then sold entirely in 1968. The sisters Israel and Zion were both sold in 1966, while the expensive new Shalom was retired and sold in 1967. Theodor Herzl and Moldet completed Zim's final transatlantic passenger sailings during 1969 and were sold off, marking the end of the company's passenger division. Zim was invited in 1957 by the government of Ghana to assist the setting up and management of a national shipping line. Black Star Line was formed with a 40% participation by Zim and principally operated cargo services from West Africa. A similar joint venture, Burma 5 Star Line, was made with the Burmese government in 1959. During the 1960s, Zim started to turn its focus to cargo ships and obtained several special-purpose vessels, including refrigerated ships and oil tankers. Zim transported crude oil from Iran to Israel and oil byproducts from Israel to Europe. In the 1970s, Zim expanded into the container shipping business. Zim ordered 6 such ships and gradually made this its main line of business. In 1981, one of the company's ships, Mazada, was lost at sea. Despite the lull in maritime shipping at the beginning of the 1980s, the company built 15 more ships in Germany in the 1990s. At this time, the ownership of Zim was divided between the Israeli government and Israel Corporation. In 2008, Zim planned to launch an initial public offering by selling 25% of its shares on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, but due to the onset of the global economic crisis, it was called off. In 2009, Zim required a cash injection of $450 million by the Ofer family and debt restructuring following the world's container shipping downturn. In 2010, Zim regained profitability, and in early 2011 Zim renewed its plans for a flotation on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, but again had to postpone it due to the economic downturn and the drop in container shipping rates. For your information, the term flotation is when a private company becomes public by issuing shares that can be bought, sold, and traded on the free market. In 2014, unloading of a Zim ship at the Port of Oakland was delayed by anti-Israel protesters. Longshoremen declined to load the ship out of safety concerns, taking no position on the underlying dispute, but unloaded the ship after their safety was assured. Other protests in Los Angeles and Tacoma, Washington, failed to stop the unloading of cargo from Zim ships. A second demonstration bypassed Oakland for Los Angeles when longshoremen, not participating in the protest, refused to unload the ship after being physically threatened and their vehicles blocked when they tried to report for work. Protesters claimed they impacted Zim's shipping schedule was denied by the company, and the local Jewish Community Council denounced the hateful rhetoric of the demonstrators. In July 2014, by which time the company was almost wholly owned by Israel Corporation, Zim was restructured with 68% of the group's shares owned by its creditors and bondholders, and 32% retained by Israel Corporation, and starting early 2015 by Kenon Holdings, a spin-off company of Israel Corporation. In mid to late 2015, plans to revive an initial public offering were implemented. Zim debuted on the New York Stock Exchange in January 2021, with the backing of Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, and Barclays. In March 2021, Zim reported the largest profit in its 75-year history.